What is going on, guys? I'm Consumer Tech Review, and today we're gonna be doing a modding guide of the Redragon K552. If at any point during the video you wanna check out the K552 or anything that we're gonna use in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. Or in one of these corners, if you're on mobile, you can check out all the products, but let's get right into it. All right, so going over all of the things that I'm gonna use to mod the K552, you don't need all of these, and you can definitely use cheaper versions or different versions. Number one, an X-Acto knife, or you could use a pair of scissors, basically anything you need. If you have a little X-Acto knife, it'd probably work the best. This little green mat is a self-healing board, and that's just for not cutting the table, so you could use cardboard or whatever works. Then we have a keycap set by Techwear. These things are absolutely awesome, and they're 20 bucks for some black and gray keycaps. These are really, really good value, and they're well made for only 20 bucks. Then just a basic screwdriver, nothing fancy here. I am also testing out a hole puncher, and this is for cutting the rubber inside of it. I'm just using a basic keycap puller, and actually one will come in this. I don't think it's quite as nice as this one, but this is just a basic one. And then we are using butyl rubber. Again, all of this is linked below. This is fairly expensive for putting on the inside of it. It's like 15 bucks, but you could get 2 keyboards worth out of this. However, if you don't want to spend 15 bucks, you can get some felt or some foam that you can get for like 99 cents at Michael's. You don't need to use the really expensive butyl rubber, but this stuff will add a really deep sound to your keyboard. That's why I'm using it. I really like how this turns out. And then we're using this Redragon wrist rest. This thing is awesome. They have a TKL, they have a 60%, and they have a full-size version of this. They're like 15 bucks, I think, and they're really good quality for that amount of money, and your hands don't sink down in it. They stay above it, but it's still nice and padded. So really good value there. And then we're using ACO Rose Red switches. Now, yes, this keyboard can take different switches besides Aotemu's. These switches will actually fit in Aotemu slots, and I think Holy Pandas will as well, but any of the ACO switches will fit in this keyboard. So check below, and you have a ton of different switches to pick from that are really so much better than Gateron's, Aotemu's, Cherry MX's. I mean, these switches are much more enthusiast grade, but they're still at a pretty affordable price tag. All right, but let's quit talking and let's get to modding this thing. Right away, we're gonna do just a sound test. These do have the Aotemu Blues on them, just so we can get a before and after sound test after we're done. Now the good thing with this, let's start taking off the keycaps, is that the stabilizers are actually quite good. One of the things I really don't like is that this only comes with blue switches, which I don't really want all the time, or any of the time, honestly. But these are nice, light, linear switches, and they're gonna be great for gaming. But again, you can use the Ocean Blues if you want some really nice tactility. There's a lot of different options there. We got all the keycaps off of this, and I actually forgot to mention, I have this one orange keycap that I took off another keyboard, and I'm gonna put it right there above the escape key, because I think it's gonna look pretty cool. But before we put any of the keycaps on, we gotta take these switches off of here, because before we actually get and take the PCB out, and don't worry, it's not a big deal. This is all beginner friendly. You'll know exactly how to do this by the end of this video. And all you need to do this is a very basic switch pull right here. But let's get these ACO switches unboxed. And there we go, looking really awesome. These are gonna upgrade this keyboard so freaking much. Now it's like a 45 pack, and I think it's like 15 bucks, maybe a little bit less per case. Those are 45 switches. So yeah, these things sound so much better than even an Aotemu Red, but you can't get even Aotemu Reds on here. So let's go and let's pull all these switches off. Also, I did forget to mention a switch puller like this, just a little basic one, will come with the K552, so you should already have one. All right guys, now that we have all of these switches off of the board, we're gonna unscrew everything using just our little screwdriver. You don't need anything fancy. And then we're gonna put the switches on after we have put the butyl rubber inside. So let's get to unscrewing. There are 2 screws here on the back, which is gonna let you take that cable out. So let's do that right now. So just unscrew those 2 screws and put them aside. After that's done, you can literally just pull this right out. It's very easy. I'm gonna put these screws back in here just so I remember that these are for this. Now that we have that done, let's flip this around and let's get all of these screws off just on the top deck right here. Not a big deal. All right, now that all the screws are out, let's pull this PCB out, and you can see it'll come right out. And that cable right here, if you turn it around, you can just pinch this right here and it should be unplugged pretty easily. And there we go. As you can see, you can take the wire right out and then you have your PCB disconnected from your board and we can just set that aside. All right, now that we have the board opened up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our rubber or foam or whatever you're using and you can see exactly how big you're gonna need to cut that. All right, then get yourself a pencil. I just have a pink one laying around. And then as you can see with this one, I'm gonna have to cut it right here and then I'm gonna have to cut a little section right here. Now we are gonna have to leave room for this cable right here. So you can see that is also gonna have to be cut out, but we can do that after we get the first initial cut. So I'm gonna flip this over and then how I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna pull the board out just a little bit while I'm making my line, just so that I have space on this side. All right, and there you can see we've made a line. Hopefully you can see that. Now all we gotta do is take our X-Acto knife and just cut it. And there we go. This one is all cut and we can see that. Let's put this in the board right here. And that fits really nicely in the board just like that. However, we are gonna now have to cut out the holes and we're gonna have to cut out this little section right over here. And there we go. Super easy and fast. Let's put this piece of rubber in and you can see that piece of rubber again. I think it's a little bit tight on the top and bottom. We'll just cut this down really quickly. All right, so then basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pencil right here, and how I do this is I actually kind of press down and kind of feel where the bumps are. So you can even see how the light reflects off of it. You can see that one is right here, pretty obviously. And I just draw a circle around. Then there's one right about there. So I'm gonna draw a circle around that. And you just keep doing this until you've done it for all of them. All right, now the thing that I've never tried before is I picked up a hole puncher. This is just a normal $5 hole puncher. I'm actually gonna see if it's gonna be able to cut this thick butyl rubber. And just to let you know, this does come in 1/16 inch and it also comes in 1/8 inch. Now I got the 1/8 because I really like it to fill up, but it's a lot easier to work with if you get the 1/16. However, I don't mind the extra work. So let's see if this is gonna work. I really hope it does because it would cut down on the work so much. So you can see all those little circles I've outlined, they should match up pretty well, as you can see. All right, so let's go ahead and see if this works. No, did that actually work? That did it so perfectly. Wow, I mean, you have to press down pretty hard, but this may be a really good way to do it. Except it's kind of hard to get in there. So it looks like I'm only gonna be able to do the edge ones. All right, now for the rest of these holes, we're just gonna use the X-Acto knife and kind of just like etch out, make a little square or a little crisscross, and that should take them out pretty well. All right, now on the rubber, we're gonna cut out a little notch right there for where the cable comes in. We have both of these pieces done. As you can see, they're not absolutely fantastic and they don't need to be because they're just inside. All right, now the other thing is inside the case, there's actually these little risers on all the sides of the little screw holes. So you actually just have to etch those down. You don't have to do this if you're using foam, but because we're using rubber, we kind of have to do that. All right, so then after all that's done, we're just going to put our rubber in there and just press it down. As you can see, it goes down in the case quite nice. All right, then after that's all in there like that, put in your other piece, or you might just have one piece depending on how you cut your rubber. Now that looks pretty freaking good. Let's put the cable back in. You're just gonna put it up through this hole and then reattach it. Now we may have to actually cut a little line through here. Again, if you're using foam, this will be easier. So if you want the easiest possible way to do this, use some foam or some felt instead of this butyl rubber. It's a little bit more difficult to work with, but I think it's worth it. As you can see, the little plug is right there. So we're gonna plug this in and see if we can do this first try. I kind of doubt that we'll need to. There's always a little bit of finagling that you have to do. All right, now that the PCB is all plugged in, we're just gonna set the case down nicely, and it looks like we don't even have to do anything. It looks like that may be good. Wow, let's hope it is. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is first we're gonna secure down the PCB and the metal deck with these screws. So just put those back in and they should line up perfectly with all of your screw holes. That easy, guys. Now the butyl rubber is absolutely harder to work with than the foam. So if this is your very first time and you do want the easiest solution, use some foam rather than butyl, but the butyl gets the best sound, man. It's really good sound. All right, now that that's all screwed in, let's flip this over. And then we're gonna put in this bottom plate mount right here for those screws for the cable. And all this, you just screw it in. And there we go, it's that easy. Now the keyboard is gonna be a whole lot heavier, especially if you use rubber. If you use foam, not too much, but let's get a little sound test of the back. Way more solid. All right, now it's time to put those keycaps on. Let's do it. We got our ACO Rose Red CS switches. Again, you can use any switch you want, but literally look, these things will fit in our Temu slots, line one up, and that's it. It's that easy. All right, one box down, onto the second box of the ACO switches. This keyboard's looking so cool just with the switches on it. I love the colors. The pink looks so cool on this board. And guys, the last switch, we're putting it on. There we go. Now you only need 2 packs, obviously, for a TKL. If you're doing a full size, you're gonna need more, but this is a K552. So yeah, all the switches are done. I'm so excited. All right, so right away, let's get the keycaps on this. We got the Techwear PBT pudding keycaps. These are the black and gray set, 20 bucks, guys. You can't beat the price. I've used these before quite a bit, and they are super high quality, probably the best $20 PBT keycap set I've ever used. They are really good for the price. All right, and you do get a keycap puller. It's not the best keycap puller, but if you're never gonna use the other keycaps, then it would be fine. All right, now you can do any keycaps that you want on this thing. You don't have to do like gray and black ones and more of like a stealthy vibe. You can do colorful if you want. You could even paint the whole case and do a bunch of crazy stuff and lube the switches. This is just the really beginner friendly, easy stuff to do. Just kind of showing you guys this is not a hard process. On our number one, I have this orange keycap that I want to use up here on the escape key. So I'm just gonna put that there now, kind of going for like a Keychron vibe, how they have that one escape key up there. Now I know that's a little bit more orange, theirs is a little bit more red, but what are you gonna do? That's what I had. I don't know if you can see it, but these are much thicker. They got really good shine through, and they got a nice clean font, which I really do like. Man, this keyboard is just coming together, and it's gonna totally upgrade the entire experience of using your keyboard. And with overall not that much money into it, to a way better feeling and sounding keyboard, I'm assuming, I'm hoping, but we're about to see. Now, if you wanted, you can absolutely lube these switches and stuff like that. I will be doing a more advanced version of these modding guides. So I'm gonna do a beginner friendly, an intermediate, and then kind of like an expert one where it's pretty tough and you're doing a lot more intense stuff to your keyboard. So definitely subscribe below if you wanna see that. All right, guys, and the last keycap right here, there we go. I actually really like the orange. Overall, wow, really excited about this. But we have one last thing to open, and that is the Red Dragon Rest right here. Let's open this thing to complete the build. And here it is, really high quality, actually, nice plastic backing and super clean design. But let's put this thing on it, but right in front of it, wow. Now, how clean does that look, guys? All right, now right away, let's get a sound test just so we can do a before and after. So here's what it sounded like before. Wow, a huge difference. But look at how it looks, how it sounds, how it feels. I know you guys can't feel it, but it feels really good. Again, if you wanna follow this modding guide, there's Amazon links below to all the stuff I use to mod this keyboard. And definitely check out those Akko Sia switches. They're absolutely amazing. But one, this keyboard is really heavy now, like a lot heavier than before. Let's tap on it from the back. Like, this thing feels like a freaking brick. It is so solid. I mean, listen. That's it, dropping it on the desk. Crazy. I can't even believe this is a K552. We didn't even lube anything. These switches are really, really smooth, even without lubing them. This is a really easy and fun way to upgrade the heck out of your keyboard. Let's move this mat right now, make it look a little bit cleaner on the desk. Look at that, guys. Absolutely ridiculously good. Wow, I'm really impressed with how this turned out. And Akko Sia switches totally changed the game for budget keyboards. You can now buy a keyboard like this that's totally budget and make it sound, feel, and look like this. Absolutely amazing, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out, help me out and throw a like below. And if you want to see more of these, definitely comment that below. I'll do more modding guides for different keyboards and elevating in expertise levels. But this was a consumer tech review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.